Ryan, go ahead, you have the mic.
So obviously being down a big piece today, what was different both ends of the floor playing without Jaden, and how did your team handle it?
I thought we did a good job of rebounding, first of all. I thought that was key. We only allowed 5 offensive rebounds, and then only having 9 turnovers. Having 10 turnovers other night in the first half was devastating for us. We generated offense for Indiana and let them get their head up, and we dug ourselves a hole. So I thought at times you can execute and not make a shot or a good shot, and that's just part of it. But when you take good shots and you don't turn the basketball over, when you miss it, you got a better chance of setting your defense. You're just not, allowing them to, you do good things, you should be rewarded from it, but sometimes you're not. But when you do bad things, bad shots and turnovers normally end up a foul at the other end, or a layup or a good shot or an open 3. And so it just kind of crumbles you, everything that you're working for. And I thought tonight we did a good job on the glass. We didn't allow them to get a lot of putbacks, even though they got a couple. And then we took care of it and we executed. We kind of got simple and went, more just, directly to the post. Obviously getting Pete Nance in foul trouble really helped us in this game. But defensively, we didn't do anything differently. We probably just went in the post a little bit more, tried to get Sasha involved a little bit more from an offensive standpoint.
Matt, how close was Jaden going? It's still going to be a day-to-day thing?
Yeah, I have no idea. I just, whenever they say he can go, and they say he can't go. So I just, just preparing your team kind of the same way, even though we're going to run some things a little bit differently. I think that's the only thing that would be different. We run some things for him, even though we don't run a bunch of things for him. Yeah, we'll see. If he can go on Thursday, great. If not, other guys got to step up and play. I thought we had some really good production. I thought Eric Hunter had a great game. Isaiah didn't turn the basketball over. Ethan Morton was very solid. Caleb First at 7 points, and that one stretch was really, really beneficial. So I thought our bench did a really good job, and then Sasha playing well, really balanced things out. And, but the one thing I think is important is not to take for granted our big guys. If one big guy played tonight and got 24 and 20, people would be like, man, that's an unbelievable game. Well, that's what our guys got tonight. And so you have to give them credit, for what they do in their per 40 minutes. And I thought both of those guys just caused a problem, for them, just their presence alone. We'll get better in terms of, making shots around the rim, being efficient in those areas, but we just got to keep grinding and keep making it tough on the defense.
And Isaiah had 2 big 3-pointers in the second half there with Northwestern kind of closing the gap. But he said as a shooter, making a shot is one of the last things that he's really focused on or worried about. But how much confidence and how much does it help the offense? How much confidence does it give the team, and how much does it help the offense when his shots are falling and he is shooting with confidence?
It's not just him; it's anybody. We had a chance to really open this up. Sometimes you get threes. And they're kind of end of the shot clock, tough threes. We had a lot of open ones not go down for us. And Isaiah making those 2 threes in that stretch right there, because they were cutting into it. They took the start the second half. They had 3 really tough shots go in to start there. That kind of happens. They had 2 shots, at the end of the first half. They take some tough shots go in. So that's sometimes just kind of the way a game unfolds. So you got to be able to counter. You got to score on your end. So when they're overdoing things in the post, when guys step up and make those shots, now you have them. You have the chance to post up and stay one-on-one. If they want to double and throw different people at them, you got the skill to be able to make them pay by hitting those threes.
Coach, after Indiana, you talked about just wanting your guys to be more poised. There was a moment late in the second half, and Boo goes, he gets 3 threes in a row. You like how your guys responded there? Yeah,
we didn't stay into the basketball a couple times. One of them was just a tough shot in transition. He shoots 30-footers. He'll just dribble up and shoot. Tough shot. So one of them was a tough shot. A couple of them, I just thought we needed to do a better job of staying into the basketball there. But I thought we showed poise, and obviously we pushed the game out and were able to win by 20 points. In that first half against Indiana, we just played like our hair was on fire. In that second 10 minutes of the first half, we just lost our mind. When it gets down to it, you got to give credit to them for their active hands and their aggressiveness. But you got to be able to pass and catch. You know, it is basketball. You know, you got to work together and pass and catch, and that's where we struggled. We had guys that just getting the ball knocked out of their hands, not being able to pass and catch, and we just got to find a core group that's going to keep giving us a chance. Because when you play the game today and you out-rebound them by 12, and then you have the same amount of turnovers, like, you know, you got 13 more possessions than your opponent. If you got a good team, you're playing at home, you should win. You know, you should win those games. But when they have, you know, fewer turnovers and more rebounds, then they shoot better than you. You know, it's lights out. Like you're going to lose those games, and so, you know, you just got to be able to keep your focus. And sometimes when, you know, those things happen and it really hurts them, even though they know it, you know, it's good for them because then they have to relearn it. You never get it fixed in rebounding and taking care of the ball. It's never fixed. You always have an incomplete puzzle. You know, as a coach, you always got to work in those two areas. Those two pillars are going to be a part of basketball. I don't care what they change and what they do. You still got to rebound the basketball and take care of it. It's so important.
Not turning the ball over obviously helped, but it seemed like the half-court defense, you forced them into a lot of deep shot clocks. They had to make a couple really tough threes to get to 28 in the first
Right.
half. Seemed like they were on top of things from a defensive perspective, team-wise. What do you see there?
Well, first of all, like we have a lot of respect for Ryan Young, and I think some people in our league that leave him one-on-one, he cooks them. And, you know, he's a guy that doesn't, you know, get 30 minutes a game, but if you look at his numbers, he's a pretty efficient player. And so we wanted to double and make it hard for him to get it, but then double him as much as possible. And a lot of people look at like stuff like that, like, well, here's a guy that comes off the bench or whatever. He's a quality player. He's a good player, but you just can't let him play one-on-one right there. He's got, you know, the Kevin McHale old school game. He's got the up and unders. He draws fouls on your big guys. He scores at the rim. He passes the basketball. So right away for us, that's what we wanted to do. You know, we wanted to make it hard. We wanted to switch ball screens. We wanted to knock their action out. But they're good one-on-one players. Pete Nance, we were fortunate he got in foul trouble. But we also wanted to bottle up Ryan Young and then be able to stay with their shooters once we kind of get things fixed out of our rotations.
Why did you go with Brandon in the starting lineup?
Just trying to get a punch from him. You know, he's that kind of the theme with him in his career so far is he's been a much better starter than a guy off the bench. You know, he's been much better when he gets to play more. But you got to, you got to be productive. You got to do what you're supposed to and be able to go out there and do that. So that's what we were just trying to get that from him. We could have went with him. We could have went with a smaller kind of a 2-point guard lineup, or we could have went with Ethan. You know, we thought about all three of them, but just kind of, you know, just trying to get him going. And then it stinks. He gets a lot of opportunities. You know, he get in a short amount of time in 12 minutes. He's 0 for 5 from 3, but he can shoot. He just needs to stay with it. And but no, that was kind of the reasoning. We could have went any which way.
Anything else?
All right.
Just what was the explanation on the whistle there?
Oh man. I don't know if I know every single rule, but I've read the rule book, and I don't have it memorized or anything, but I got a pretty good feel on it. I just haven't seen that. He says they get one shot. He says so, like if somebody sprains their ankle or loses their shoe or like whatever, like if someone's down at the other end, you get one shot. And I just says, well, where does that say that in print in the rule book? Because I've never seen that in 30 years. And I didn't get an answer to that because I don't think it does. But I don't know. I'm not an official. I'm just a coach that thinks he knows. I don't really know. I try to know, but there's things in officiating that none of us know. Like that rules will happen. You're like, hey, this is wrong. Then all of a sudden you'll get with an official and you'll ask them, and then they'll explain it. And you'll be like, well, I'm a dope. That was foolish. I was wrong again. And so I was like hesitant, but I'm like, hey man, where does this say this? Because I was always at the understanding that it was advantage, disadvantage. Like that was my understanding. Like if you drive and then you're getting a basket and you miss it, now you got the ball right at the rim, you still have the advantage. Like why should you be punished that someone fell down there? Like that's like, but the health and safety of everything was he's okay. I know he's at the other end, but he's okay. If something's set up where someone has gotten crumbled and they're falling on the ground and you got 2 to 3 people that are just hovering over them and someone can get kicked or something can happen. I understand that whistle because this guy here's got ready to get kicked in the head. But when he's at the other end and he's hurt his ankle or whatever, like he's still, from a health and safety standpoint, he's okay, right? So I didn't understand that, but I don't think that's in print. But we are going to find out. But it's just one of those things where you probably blew the whistle. And then afterwards was like, hey, you get one crack at it. It's kind of like when two people get the ball at the same time, it's like an automatic travel, right? Right? And you've seen two people get the basketball on the same team. But if I have the ball and you have the ball and we both have a pivot foot and we don't move our pivot foot, then why is it traveling? I don't know.
I've seen that called every which way.
You've seen it called every which way, but where does it say that in the rule book? But yet we have this opinion of it that whatever, like, you know, we need to get concrete with some things to say, hey, it's not a travel or it's an automatic travel, or like, you know, things just have to get clear so we all know what we're doing. So you guys can write a story that's truthful. That's what we really need.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.